Wache, good evening, everyone. Vanessa here, also known as the Quilter with the Heart of Gold, and I'm here in my home sewing studio. And I want to talk a little bit about something that we announced today, February 24th, 2024. We are making a volunteer quilt to honor all of you wonderful and amazing volunteers out there. So what we're making is little house blocks. They come out to 5.5 by 7. And it's a free pattern and the instructions can be sent to you. You just have to ask Kat for those. Just email admin@quiltsforsurvivors.ca and they will make sure that you get that free pattern. All we're asking you to do is to make one house block, just one, as a reflection of you, of your personality, of your sewing journey. You can do, there's two different roofs for the blocks. So there's this house here with no chimney as the roof, and then there's just the house, the body of the house, and then the second one has a chimney. So this one here has a chimney. So what we're asking that you do is you can pick fabric that you love. You can use your scraps. You can use whatever you like. It should be a reflection of you and things that you enjoy, or a fabric, maybe a fabric collection that means a lot to you. Maybe it's fabric you included in a Quilt for a Survivor, or a family member, or just a designer that you really, really love. So as you can see, I am not using white background. You can use whatever kind of background you like. This is a low light. It has a little bit of a print on it. It is a white with a bit of a print. This is a reflection of me because I don't normally put white as a background. I'll use almost any other color than white. Very few of my patterns of my quilts actually have white as the background. It's usually gray or a cream. What else have I used? Black, I've used blue, I've used green, I've used pinks, I've used reds, I've used, whites with a print on them or a tone on tone. So just a reflection of you, and no white is exactly the same unless it comes off the exact same bolt. There's no pure white out there. They either have a yellow tone, undertone, or a yellow or a blue, a red, so lots of different colors. So choose a background. This is the background, the part of your roof. The sky, maybe you wanted to reflect skies that you love, and like blue sky, or maybe it's a really nice pinky sky, who knows. So that's what that is. Then if you're choosing to make a chimney, as I said, this one here does not have a chimney, so you can choose roof A or B. This is roof B, and you can include a chimney. My chimney is blue in honor of Captain America, my favorite superhero. And I put a picture of Cap. I cut a picture. I cut a piece of fabric out. Fussy cut it out to fit there with Captain America colors. And then down here at the bottom, I have heart fabric that also has red and blue in it, which are colors that I love and represent my hero. And I have that down there. Then I have purple on either side because purple is my favorite color. Now you put the same color there as well. In this one, my door is a different color, but my sides and my top are the same fabric. So you can choose how you want to do that. Then I have orange as the roof for Every Child Matters, which happens to match my sweater today. And that's why I did that. And then once you sew in your house together, we want you to write your name on it. You can write it with a pen, a fabric marker. You can embroider it on by hand. You can use an embroidery machine. You can use, someone said they were going to put vinyl on it, whatever you want to do to mark that it's your block. If you want to send a little note with your house, you're free to do so. We're going to number the houses, and then we will keep track. We'll put, like, if your house is number 50, then we'll put number 50 on the note. And then when people look at the quilt, if they wish, they can go see if, the house for 50 also has a little note, and we can have that in a little photo album or something like that that we keep with the volunteer quilt. And this is going to hang in our studio in Timmins. And it's just have a little piece of you in our studio, because we appreciate you all so much. You can make your block even if maybe you're on to other charities, or you're working on other things, or maybe you don't sew as much anymore. We would appreciate a block. And it doesn't matter if you've made one block, one top, one quilt, or if you've made many. This is something that we would like from each one of you. You can bring it to the sewing retreat in September if you're coming, or you can ship it off in the mail to us. We greatly appreciate that. So again, you can do something where all of kind of the materials match. So this is some fabric that I used in a quilt I gave to my sister. And then I just picked a red solid for the door. All right. So let's get started. So let's start with the house. Here on the first house, let's start with that. I did sew these two pieces together already. And then I thought, oh, I should make a video. So I actually ripped it out. I made a mistake. I had started a video and then I had made a boo-boo. So I had to stop the video and restart. So that's also why they're sewing together. So let's restart and do this again. So we're going to take our roof pieces. So our two background pieces. If you're doing roof A, this is roof A. And we're going to take the long size of our background fabric. We're going to lay it on here, right sides together. I line it up right at the bottom and then right up along the side. And I'm going to sew down 1/4 of an inch. I'm using an off-white thread in this. And I know the table is very wobbly. I apologize. And then I'm going to just finger press it back, take it over to the iron, give it a little bit of a press. So are these house blocks finished at 5.5 by 7? So that's what we would like. You do not have to trim up we would prefer that you trim it, but make sure it's at 5.5 by 7. We want all of the blocks to be the same size. If your block is a little big, trim it down. If it's a little small, maybe add some stashing or a border. If you don't do that, we will do it for you, but it may not be what you would have picked. So try to get it as accurate as possible. So then that's your roof. So I sewed both background squares on the back. I don't have all of the cutting instructions here, but this is a 5-inch square cut it in half diagonally. And then the background is a 4-inch square cut in half diagonally. And I used both pieces. So I have an extra roof here. So now we're going to take this and we're going to square it up. So we're going to make sure that it's completely square. It's really hard to see. I'm going to see if I can adjust that a little bit. Oh, that helps a little bit. Okay. I can back up a little bit too, just to make it work. Okay. So we're going to make sure that this comes out to 3 inches wide. So 3 inches wide by 5.5 inches. Or 3 inches, sorry. 5.5 inches wide. Oh, that's length. No, that's width, yeah. And then 3 inches in height. So we're going to take this ruler here, and we want to make sure too that we don't lose that 1/4 of an inch. So this ruler, this is a Creative Bridge ruler. It has that 1/4 inch and then a 1/4 inch here, and it marks it for you. So I'm going to make sure that I don't lose my point. I'm not going to cut off a bunch here. I'd rather cut from the bottom than up here at the top and lose my point. All right. So we do want it to be 3 inches in height and 5.5 inches wide. So I'm placing this on here and I'm going to swing this around. Bear with me. Okay, you can kind of see. So I'm making sure that I'm not cutting off my point, that I have enough room to sew, leaving my seam allowance. I'm placing my 2 3/4, because 2 3/4 is half of 5.5. And I'm not worried about the height right now, I'm not worried about the width at all, or the height, sorry, yeah, the height. I'm not worried about that. I'm focusing on making sure I don't lose my point and that I'm cutting it at the 3/4, 2 3/4, because I want it to be as even as possible. And then I can cut that off, although I wasn't really worried about that. All right, so that's, and I cut the top. So I cut one side and I cut the top. Then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to place it at 5.5. by 3. And then I'm trying to line it up here. If it's a little bit wonky, I'm gonna just readjust it. I have some room to adjust, so I'm going to adjust it. And then I'm gonna trim it like this. Okay, then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna make sure that it's 5.5 by 3. So again, I'm just adjusting it to make sure that it's nice and even. Okay, and watching, that does not want to cut. There we go. And watching that I don't lose my point. So there is 3 by 5.5. There's my roof. So let's bring that back over here to my little design board here. This is actually one that I made. I'm not really, it's not the best, but it's super cute. All right. So now I've already sewn these together. So you would just sew those together, right sides together and sew them. As I mentioned, I had made a boo-boo, but let's sew these 2 together. So let's just sew these 2 together. These are from the other house because the construction is the same. The roof is different. I'm just doing 1/4 inch. I'm just sewing 1/4 inch, and I'm going to press it to the darker side. So that's it. The American fabric. I'm just going to press my seam. So there you go. All right, then, so now that we have the center part done, we're going to take our block and we're going to sew it right sides together. Each of these side pieces, we're going to sew those on. Okay, so I'm going to lay it out. There's no seams to match, so you can press your fabric either up or down. I pressed both of mine to the darker fabric. And then I'm just going to hold it down here and follow that 1/4 inch, sewing it nice and careful. All right, then I'm just going to press it back. Again, these seams don't match to anything. This seam here does not match to anything in the quilt, so you don't have to worry about which way you're pressing it. Then I'm going to take my second side piece or wall piece, stick it next to the door. I mean, you could have put all different fabrics here if you like. There's no right or wrong way to make a house. And then just sew all the way down the side, 1/4 inch. Okay, then we're going to grab our piece and we're going to press it. So we're just going to give it a good press, roll it back, press it some more, make it nice and flat. And then it should be 5.5 by 4.5. Okay, because the 4.5 and the 3.5 or the 3 will give us, was it 4.25? Sorry, it's 7. It comes out to 7. The house comes out to 7. This is, well, let's just measure it. Because clearly, I'm probably telling you something wrong. It is, should be 5.5. 5.5 by 4.5. Yep, 5.5 by 4.5. All right. Isn't that super cute? Is that cute? I think it looks really cute. All right, so let's go back over to the machine with our cute little piece. And we're gonna now attach our little house to its roof. You know, every house needs a roof. Without a roof, you're gonna get water in your house. So we're gonna bring it over to the machine. It's a little tricky when you only have one camera and you're the only person here doing this, but I think it's working out. And then I'm gonna stitch down. I'm just gonna put right sides together and stitch all the way down the one side, connecting the roof to the house. Okay, 1/4 inch seam. There's a thread here, so I'm gonna cut that. And then I'm gonna finger press it up. Again, this, I think if we press them up, that's good. I think there's a little bit of sashing in between each house. So pressing, or maybe there isn't. I think there, I know. So you can press it up or down, because I think we're gonna have to rotate them anyways with the seam allowances so that they nest. But when we put it together, I'm sure we can always just watch that. So then there's our little house. So let's take it over to our design board here so that we can really get a good look at it. So there's our house. There it is, it's finished. Oh. There is our beautiful house block. So there's our background, the roof, again, any color you like, no limits on that. You can do a cream, a white, off-white, whatever works. You can use a different color. You can do whatever you like, no judgment. And then your roof, so this is roof A without a chimney, and then your door and your piece here, and then your two side pieces. And these pieces do not have to match. They can be different, like in my second option, and that should come out to 5.5 by 7.5. So here is my house with a chimney. So far, so good. So this one is sewn just slightly different. So we're going to start with our chimney piece, because we actually, so what I did was I cut out the chimney. I don't remember what it is. It's one, remember what the measurements are. Let's hope I trimmed it right. It's 1.25 by 2.5. 2.5. I think I got that right. And then I took my 4-inch block and I cut it at 2 inches. So in the instructions, so I took my 4-inch square, which was what this is. This is a 4-inch square. Okay, so it goes back together. So I cut it in half diagonally, and then it said to cut 2 inches from that end. So that's what I did. And then I put my little chimney in there. And then when you lay it like this, it looks like better. All right, so now we're going to take this and we're going to sew. We're going to sew these on either side of this chimney. So I'm going to start with my little guy. I'm going to line him up to the top of the chimney. I know that it's shorter than the chimney, but that's okay. We're okay with that. We're going to sew down. It's going to be tight. I'm going to actually lower my stitch length a little bit. I'm lowering my stitch length because I do have to trim it, and I don't want my stitches to come apart. Then I'm going to finger press it back. These stitches that I went off, you see here, I went off a little bit. That's not going to matter. I'm going to give that a quick press at the iron and then bring it back. Okay, so now we have a funny piece that looks like this, kind of like a flag. And then we're going to take our other piece, and it goes like this, because we still need that roof to have that slope to it. So we're going to put right sides together like, oops, like this, and we're going to stitch on this side. 1/4 inch, right sides together, 1/4 inch. I have never done this before, so we'll see how it goes. All righty, so let's bring it over to the ironing board here. Ironing mat. I'm gonna just press it. Press it, press it, press it. Okay, now it looks really, really funny. It looks kind of funky. Doesn't look like it's supposed to. So now we need to bring it over to the cutting mat. So let's do that. Oops, our little housie's in the way. Get out of the way, little housie. All right. So now what we're gonna do is take a ruler, any ruler you want, it doesn't matter. And we're just gonna cut this. See how it's wonky? We're just gonna cut it straight. Let's just cut it straight. or as straight as we can. There we go. So now it looks very similar to our triangle over there. So it looks very similar to this triangle. It's just, see, very, very similar. It just has a chimney in it. So let's go back to our design board with our little house that we're constructing for the volunteer quilt. So let's put that back up there. And then our chimney goes on. The chimneys will always be on the right side of your house. You could probably do it on the other side, but in the pattern, all the chimneys are on the right side of the house. Which I think, you know, houses don't have chimneys anymore because it now comes out the side. I think that kids are going to grow up and not know where not know, because houses don't have chimneys up like that anymore. They're going away. Interesting. Anyways, we're going to sew. It doesn't matter if you sew which side you sew first. We're just going to sew them. We're going to take it over to the machine. We're going to sew our roof the same way we did in the other house. So I'm just going to finish this here with you so that you can see it. And then I'll have to take time to figure out what I'm going to write on it. I'm going to put my name. I think that's stuck. Oh, damn. Okay, again, this is recorded live. All my oopsie doopsies are in here. Okay, I'm just gonna grab a scrap of fabric so that I can get it started. Just let me grab a scrap. When you're looking for a scrap, you can't find one. All right, so just give me a second. I'm gonna grab this scrap of fabric. The ones I had next to me were just too small. All right, so I'm just gonna start with this scrap. I'm just gonna get it to start sewing. This will keep it from making a mess of my. I just did a leader. I'm hoping that it will help with the. Yes, so that it doesn't push the fabric down. So that helps. All right. Then we're just gonna finger press it. We can take it over to the iron. So I'm just gonna take it over to the iron. I'm going to just give it a quick press. And then we're gonna come back. Okay. So now we're gonna sew down the other side of the chimney. So let's do that. Let's sew this chimney down. Now, I'm going to line it up in this corner here. I'm going to line it up and I'm going to stitch it down. I didn't need to use the lead on this one because I could start it a little bit away. Go it nice and slow, just making sure it's keeping it straight. 1/4 inch, right sides together. All right, let's take it over to the pressing mat. I'm gonna set my seams and I'm gonna just roll it back. All right, so just let it lay there. It looks so cute. Oh my gosh, it looks great. I love it. All right, now we're gonna take it. Press it just a little. It's a lot of seams. There's extra seams in there. So I have a clapper on it. I'm just gonna let it sit there for a minute. So we're gonna take it back and we're gonna trim it again to 3 inches in height, 3 by 5.5 inches wide. All right, that should be good. It's cooled down a bit. So there is our roof. Super cute. So we just have to trim it to that magic number of 3.5 by 5. No, 3 by 5.5. Sorry. It's 3 inches by 5.5 inches. So I am going to, this is very wonky. I don't know. It's wonky. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about the wonkiness. I'm going to line it up and I'm going to get it really, really super cute. As you can see, it's very wonky. It could be just the way I sewed my roof on. I'm going to make sure that it is centered, that 2 3/4 is there. So I'm making sure my 2 3/4 right at the point, and I'm making sure that my seam allowance, that 1/4 inch, is above that point. I don't want to lose my point. So I'm going to trim, and I'm going to trim again. It cut some of my chimney off, but I'm okay with that. My chimney might be shorter than somebody else's chimney. That's okay. That's what makes our blocks all unique. I'm going to do it again, making sure that everything is lined up. I don't think I want to cut off any more of my roof if I can help it, or of the sky. So I'm going to lining it up again, making sure that it's crossing where I want to. I will have to trim it again on the top side just a bit. It's not quite 3 inches. So it's supposed to be 5.5. So I'm putting it at the 5.5, 3 at the bottom, and then I'm just going to cut it straight. It wasn't completely straight. It could have been the way I sewed my roof, my sky side on with the chimney. Who knows? But it's perfectly straight now. I haven't lost my point. I have room for my seam allowance, and my chimney looks super cute. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, so let's take our beautiful roof, complete with chimney. Oh, sorry, it got right in the way. And let's sew it together. So just like we did with the other one, we're going to take our side pieces. Doesn't matter if you start with the right or the left. We're going to take them over to the machine, and we're going to stitch down. I just was stuck in there. I didn't want to. All right, I did back up a little bit and re-sew over some of those stitches. Try not to go too fast because the table really shakes. It's not a very sturdy table. All right, so I'm going to press that back. Again, you can press it either way. It seems to want to go to the back. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to lay my other side down on the other side. Other side of my house. Stitch down. Roll it back. Then let's take this over to the pressing mat and give it a good press. So again, just pressing it down, making sure that those seams, I don't think the seam is listening to me. Nope. It's doing its own thing over here. So we're just going to set those seams. Now, again, this is just fabric that I already had. I've already used it in somewhere in a pattern. I'll put my clapper on there just because it's not super flat. So again, you can use whatever kind of fabric you'd like for your little house. We ask that you put your name and where you're from. If you don't want to include your name, well, that's a little sad. But your town and your province would be great as well, or your country, if you're from a different country. Alrighty, so now we brought it back. It's back with its roof. Yay! Now we're going to sew those together the same way we did the other one, and they should come out to 5.5 by 7. So 5.5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. And it's just so right sides together, 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. If you're a quilt shop and you've helped support us, you might want to make a reflection of your little shop. You might want to put your little, instead of your personal name, maybe you want to put your little shop's name. I'm just going to take that over. We'll take that over. I'll give it a press. And then I'm going to put them side by side. It looks so cute. I didn't lose too much of Captain America. So you can still tell it's Captain America, which to me is kind of important because I wanted my block. This is the one I think I'm going to actually put in the quilt. The other one I may not, unless someone says I don't quilt, but I've donated money, or I would like a block in there for the support I've offered. So here is the final blocks. So there is my house block, the orange roof with the blue chimney, super, super cute. And then there's my other block. So you, again, can pick roof A with no chimney, or roof B with a chimney. You can choose to have a plain background in any color of your choice, or you can choose to have a light background with some print on it. So a low light, again, completely your choice. You can choose to have, you know, a cohesive color line, or you can be funky and be a little individual, you know, make it more like you. If you were a house made out of fabric, what would you look like if you were fabric? How would you describe yourself? And then on here somewhere, I'm going to put my name and where I live. So I'll put Vanessa Genier. Maybe I'll put Missionary Cree because that's my First Nation. I could put where I'm residing currently in Timmins. Who knows? I could put founder. I can, you know, whatever I'd like to put on there. So that's super, super cute. I think most people will know it's my block anyways, because it is Captain America. So thank you for watching this video and learning how to make our volunteer house block. Again, you pick which roof you like. The bodies are the same. We only want one per person. So you can make more if you want, but we only want one with your name on it somewhere. You can write on the roof, you can write in the sky, however it works. You can include a little note. The note will go in a binder or a photo album or something like that that will accompany the quilt, and the quilt will hang here in Timmins at our Quilt for Survivors studio. And we're really, really excited to try this out. So you have until December 31st, 2024 to get those house blocks to us. And we are excited to share that. Maybe in the future, we'll have to have other, you know, maybe mini wall hangings in the studio with other blocks that come in. But to be in the big quilt, we need it by the end of the year so that we can put it all together in January. So that is the plan. Isn't that super cute? I think they're super cute. I just love them. So thank you so much for checking out this video, and I hope you have fun making your little house block for our Quilts for Survivors volunteer village. Chimigwich, have a wonderful evening.